team, raising 2 cups and we'll chill. The knowledge isn't real for a trio so true to representing the great red, white, and blue. And you love them too. That you can't deny, so just one time, let me hear Dallas till I die. Chico's gonna give you what? Rev is gonna give you what? Ben is gonna give you what? All 3 are gonna give you the Big D. Chico's gonna give you what? Rev is gonna give you what? Ben is gonna give you what? All 3 are gonna give you the Big D. Soccer podcast? Huh.
And we're live. We are live. Welcome to Big D After Dark. One of your hosts here, Nathan Hill. You can follow me on Twitter at Nathan J. Hill. And right now we are missing Ben Lyon. If you've seen him, if you know where he is, let him know we're live. He'll jump in when we get a chance. Probably when he gets to computer, if he's available. Things happen, So there also with us is Jose Carmona. You can follow him at El Chico Carmona. Welcome again to Big D After Dark. And hopefully Ben will join us in a bit. But for now, we will get started breaking down the latest news and results as FC Dallas officially ends their season with a 1-0 loss at Seattle in the MLS Cup playoffs. Couldn't quite get to that Western Conference final. Couldn't get the job done, but it was a hard-fought game in Seattle. So I just think we want to start there with thinking back to that night. It didn't go FC Dallas's way, but it wasn't a completely miserable kind of thing. It wasn't a 3-0 beatdown out of sight in the first half. It was a game that actually came down to one set-piece goal, one moment of a loss of concentration. But otherwise, FC Dallas' defense did quite well against Nicholas Lodero and Jordan Morris and the company. There's a lot to like. The offense struggled, as the offense has. So, Jose, just give us your sort of takeaway from that last FC Dallas game of 2020.
Well, you can't help but, be disappointed. It's you were hoping they were able to pull it off. But that goal once it hit, I think it deflated all the fans. I mean, it's like you just tell there was a collective groan on social media. Honestly, I thought they played really well. I know people are complaining that they played badly. By previous road standards, I thought they played very well. I thought they actually played better than they did against Portland. And you saw they followed the same playbook, and they were trying to get that last minute goal. Of course, you can't play that card all the time. They were able to pull it off against Portland, but Seattle's defense just a little bit better.
Yeah, Seattle's defense got the job done. I don't know that FC Dallas really figured out how to pull them apart. There were some opportunities. The best was Barrios hitting off the crossbar, which is kind of his season in one play, and then Ricarte not, really sending the ball in, which should have been a goal, except for just a great clearance by a Portland defender, and so, Yeah.
Seattle.
Oh, Seattle defender. Sorry. Oh my gosh.
That's all right. I like on that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you know what? The attack was what it's been all season. It's been very subpar, very disappointing, really. And honestly, it's not that they didn't create opportunities. It's just that when they did arise, they found ways to, botch it. And that's what they've done all season. So I mean, no one's surprised there.
Mm-hmm.
Or
And
no one should be.
yeah, no one should be surprised. I mean, this was a moment that they knew Seattle were going to be comfortable playing at home, and so yeah, it was going to be a tough moment. I think Lucci and the squad knew that it was going to take an extra gear to get it done, and it just didn't ever click. And we saw that a lot throughout the season, and certainly we saw times where it did click. I really feel like the Seattle and Portland games were very, very similar. Just in Portland, Dallas was able to scrounge up a goal, was to make something happen, and it wasn't the prettiest opportunity in the world, but Pepe took care of it. You gotta take your goals, your chances when they come, especially on the road in Major League Soccer. And I think you before we went live on here, we talked about FC Dallas is one of their big problems, and it's a problem for a lot of teams in Major League Soccer playing on the road. But this team has struggled to figure things out, how to get results.
But you know what? Though? I'm not disappointed in the way Dallas played on the road. Not in these two games, not against Portland, not against Seattle. The problem is that we've seen a drop off from previous seasons in their set pieces. I can't remember the last time they got a set piece goal. Do you? I can't think of one. When's the last time? And honestly, those become extra important in the playoffs and on the road. I mean, when you gotta get a goal out of nowhere, set pieces is the best way to do it. And I'm sorry, but along with the attack, the set pieces for FC Dallas have been subpar by just about any previous season standard. There was a huge drop off there the whole season, and it was consistent. There wasn't, I mean, we knew Rado was the guy for PKs, but other than that, I mean, like I said, I can't think of.
No.
Interesting enough, I can think of several like North Texas SC set pieces goals, but I can't think of a single FC Dallas set piece goal, and that tells you that there were few and far between, and that's really what doomed this team. I actually I'm okay with the way they played. It's how they have to play on the road in MLS to win, but having some kind of set piece threat would have been nice, which is what Seattle had, and that was the difference. They couldn't get their attack going, so they had a set piece drawn out that worked.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas never. Honestly, that's not part of Dallas's arsenal, and that's something they need to address next season.
Yeah, the little things make a big difference in the playoffs. The little things. Yeah, so they missed that. They missed it. And look, I say partly the run again. The thread. One of the threads for FC Dallas is lack of goal production this year. One of the mystifying stories of 2020 was Mikey Barrios. Just not a great season. He had a few moments here and there, but he was doing some of the set piece delivery, and he wasn't great at that. So it's sort of like that's a thread, And you saw some other guys step up and take, and with little success as well. So it was an area where the team really needs to improve, and really we need a different Barrios come 2021. I don't know what.
I think the biggest things we take away from this match and the Portland match is things that hint about what's coming in the following next season, and that is you saw Barrios coming off the bench. I mean, let's face it, I think we're all stunned that he didn't start either playoff match, and that's just a signal, I think, from Dallas that, hey, Barrios, you're no longer going to be our featured guy on the wing. And I want to be okay with that, but considering we have a massive hole on left wing, having Barrios suddenly, treated as no longer, mind you, a super sub basically, I'm okay with that. But then who's going to start at right wing? So I mean, those are big questions heading into the offseason. People are like, oh, they're going to go out and get a left wing. No, they need to go out and get a left wing and a right wing, unless they're planning to feature somebody from from the academy or someone like that to step in. But really, they need to address both wings. If Barrios is going to be a super sub, who's starting? Is Papa the guy? Papa can only start on one wing. He can't start on both. So yeah, those are interesting questions. The other big takeaway I got from these two playoff games is they seem to finally have settled on their midfield. With Santos, Tessman, and Ricarte, with Ricarte up higher. I like it. I mean, it has potential. I mean, yes, it didn't quite work against Seattle, but come on, Seattle. There's a reason they've won like 17 straight playoff matches at home. It's harder to. But I thought the midfield looked solid. But how many times have those three played together this whole season? Not very often. So of course, it's. I like what I saw from them, and I think there's something to build on. But you got to have the same three guys playing all the time,
Yeah.
I did like that, and then of course the other thing is, Rito, not starting. You had Berzon starting, and obviously, I think we all saw that signaled the end of Rito's stay in Dallas. Because I mean, let's face it, the guy who was the team captain, not seeing the field in two very important games. And mind you, we're talking about set pieces. You think maybe they would have brought him in at the end to see if they can work some set piece magic with him. Because let's face it, he's got the most dangerous leg out there.
That's right. Yeah.
He didn't.
A lot of questions. Well, let's move right into the next topic then, which is the FC Dallas released their roster decisions today. Every team after finish and play has like a week or so to make those decisions and put them out. Some teams in Major League Soccer are having quite a bit of turnover, but FC Dallas is not. They've said goodbye to 4 players. Leading that list is Redo Ziegler. His contract was up, and he's about to turn 35, and even though he probably could still serve in a sort of backup role, it makes sense for him probably to go back to Europe and close out his career there and for other opportunities. Then Francis Atuahini, who really had very limited action with FC Dallas, but had a great goal against LA Galaxy. I think it was a pretty interesting story. Caleb Montgomery, also a draft pick, who just couldn't break his way in, had some loan opportunities, and maybe just didn't, they couldn't find a fit. And then finally, the big story, Santiago Mosquera finally released, opening up a designated player contract for FC Dallas. So otherwise, Jimmy Morrow's back. Bresson is being negotiated with. He may still be out, but they're negotiating that contract. They're negotiating around keeping Felipe, the Brazilian goalkeeper. That was a mid-season acquisition. Kyle Zoback will be back. So roster's going to be pretty steady, which has a lot of positive. There's a lot of upside. But so what did you think about those changes today, Jose?
I think you could see all those coming, in all honesty. I mean, Montgomery, I know a lot of people were saying, oh, hey, Montgomery, he's going to be, maybe he's going to be a starter, this and that. But honestly, if Montgomery's being let go, that means that the team's been more impressed with Che and Nkosi, coming up. I mean, people forget that those guys, we didn't see much about them. But they're both players that address an issue with the FC Dallas backline, and that's speed. They bring speed and athleticism, which is something that the backline lacks. Excuse me. And honestly, I know some people want Bresson gone for whatever reason, but I would feel better having Bresson back because I would rather the kids beat him out than FC Dallas handing them one of the young guys the starting spot simply because they don't have anybody else better. And then poor Matt Hedges is just basically gonna lose his head,
Yeah.
having to coach up a kid. So I mean, I think, like I said, I'm perfectly good with Brisson coming back, and like I said, force the young guys to beat them out. You know,
There's some talent. Burgess could emerge. Yeah. So
another unless you're going to bring in a big name center back to, in that case, because let's face it, letting Rito go, that frees up a big chunk of change, and if you don't re-sign Brisson, that frees up even more change, so you can afford to go get a decent center back.
Well, good stuff. Yeah, I think I agree. Like, there were no surprises in this roster. I think there was some speculation that Mara was going to be out of contract and Zobek and stuff, so that they had options still left. Was pretty good business by FC Dallas to keep them around, keep their options flexible. And you have still so much youth on this roster. That's why there's just a lot of upside, a lot of possibilities. Going into 2021, Pepe's going to get more minutes without a doubt. Dante Sealy is probably poised to, if he can progress, to get some more minutes. There's just some real possibilities in this roster to get youth going and have them compete for spots. But you still like a veteran like Brisson there. I like that. I like your thought on that. That was my piece on the Big D this week about the center back position, because you really, I mean, Hedges has done it before. Hedges had Walker, start next to him, and kind of was a mentor, and at that point. But you could see a younger presence, but you sure would like having Brisson there, at least give you that start of the season and those moments when you just need a veteran presence on that back line to come in off the bench, if nothing else.
And you have to wonder if that's what the negotiations is with him, with Brisson. We want you to be the starter, but we want to make sure that you're aware that we're going to rotate in some of the young guys. So I mean, there's a lot of ways that could go. I mean,
you're right.
So yeah, like I said, I hope they bring Brisson back. I don't know. Like I said, it frees up a lot of change with the guys that let go, especially Mascara, and with the sales, of Cannon and Cobra and Aranguiz and other potential sales in your future. Now, part of me wants to be excited, but the truth is that the Hunts may simply decide that this transfer money coming in is simply going to upset the money they lost from having a near empty stadium, for a team that relies on the gate, not really having a gate, that it really hurts. And so part of me wants to be excited about all this money that they've got from transfers, which is great. We want to see this, keep it coming. I got a feeling that they may simply go, that's going to upset our losses. Now, the one thing I do like is that I think Sonoda is making. I like the moves he's making. I mean, I do like, Ricarte. I don't get why anybody's got anything negative to say about him. I mean, I think he's been, for a guy who came in mid-season. I mean, when's the last time we had a mid-season guy that was worth anything? Let's see what he can do with a full off season with his team. And so yeah, I'm excited about Rick Carson. I'm excited to see what else Sonoda's got, up his sleeve.
You're right, and I mean, there's a lot of scenarios, and the biggest get in 2021. Let's just say FC Dallas didn't find any deals that made sense. That they did figure out how to bring Felipe back and Brisson back. Paxton's going to be healthy. Paxy's going to be ready come March, hopefully, and he presents, he just really helps this roster, this lineup a lot. Even if Paxton says, I'm going to start on that left wing, I mean, he could answer that, and then, you see where it comes come summer, if there's another prospect, another possibility out there for FC Dallas. But left wing is the biggest area. Pico gave some good minutes there. I think he worked hard. He brought something to the team. He's definitely a squad guy. He's a nice guy to have on the team, but you do want to see some movement there. But it'll be interesting to see how they negotiate because they traditionally haven't been big spenders. So I don't know. We don't know
And
what's.
and I know some people don't want to see uh, Paxton playing on the wing, but if he can get regular, minutes at the wing, then why not? I mean, the kid's been injured. He's not going to start ahead of Ricarte or Santos, and you know, I'm not sure he'll start ahead of Tessman right now. And you've got that big opening on left wing. Why not give Paxton a shot there?
Mm-hmm.
I like to see him get a shot and maybe find a home, and maybe that's his future. And if that is his future, then I'm okay with that. He doesn't have to be the number 10 that everybody was hoping for.
Yeah.
I like to just see him healthy and being productive. And if he plugs the hole we've got there, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, one of the question marks too was whether the team was going to try to figure out something with Franco Hara, but according to some comments from Luchi Gonzalez, he feels the same way. I think, typically in MLS, those midseason signings, they struggle to really adjust to the league. It doesn't happen that often that a player comes in and just really thrives. And Hara did all right comparatively, with 7 goals. He contributed, but he did struggle there at the end. It looked some ways like he ran out of gas. It just wasn't clicking. So I think the team is looking for this offseason with Carte and Hara to really get these guys to gel, get this whole squad to kind of take that next step of where they need to be. And I think that's a decent bet for a team. You need that offseason together to develop relationship and trust and know what to expect from each other. But it will be interesting to see what Hara could bring in 2020 because they need more. This team needs more.
This is true, and like I said, there might be only four people that were let go, but there's bound to be some movement. I mean, there's probably going to be a couple of players sold. So you never know. I mean,
you never know. You're right. This could be a long, Pico was a trade. Is there a trade out there that Dallas is going to look at for some left winger for a team that's going through turmoil and change? My one of my instant thoughts was a guy like Paul Arriola. He's with DC United. DC United is going to be looking for is in the process of hiring their next coach. They may be looking to shift some guys around to create space to bring in some other talent. A guy like Paul Arriola would be intriguing, but does he fit what Lucci wants to do? I don't know, but what's possible,
Well, and here's the other thing though: is it doesn't have to be a sexy trade. It could be an MLS style trade, like where you saw Zimmerman go to Nashville and become the league's defensive player of the year. It doesn't have to be a sexy move. It could be, hey, we're going to make a trade for a veteran MLS center back, or like you said, we need, unless you're gonna give Pepe and Jesus more shots at working, playing up high alongside Hara, or when Hara's not playing, you're going to need to bring in a veteran striker. So I think that's another, because it's clearly going to be a backup role. It would be nice to have a veteran MLS presence behind Hara. So there's definitely moves they can make within the league to bolster the team depth and provide, spot starters, or like I said, in center back, you could probably find a starter if you're not going to keep Rizan.
Well, good stuff. I mean, it's the beginning of this. We like to call it silly season. We like to speculate. There'll be rumors and things flowing around. We'll get to that next. So we hope you stick with us at Big D Soccer and to kind of see how things unfold. So that's our last segment tonight is rumors and dreams. I'm going to bring in a little tweet here. Oh, it's not coming out right. I will change my phone. There we go. Interesting tweet today. Last week we talked about some of the rumors about teams watching Tanner Tessman, of course, teams tracking Paxton Pomykal, and rumors of a Juventus deal on the cards for Brian Reynolds. Of course, so there's a lot of speculation, but there are confirmations around these things. When they're going to happen, when the deals are going to happen, though, is uncertain. Tom Bogert reported that in a conversation with Zanota, FC Dallas technical director. He says it's a good problem but to have teams interested in your players, but they'll sell when it's a good fit. And so at the moment, though, there is nothing concrete. So interest, but nothing concrete yet. And I think what the news has been in recent days, Jose, has been that more teams are interested in Reynolds, right?
Yeah. A lot of people thought that, with the Juventus rumor jumping in, where basically they come in and supposedly, would not saying that they made an offer, but the rumor was that, they were hinting at 6 to 7 million. The point was that Juventus was kind of telling everybody else, back off, he's ours, and if you don't bother making an offer because we'll just top it. Like people like to say they have FU money, but that doesn't seem to have stopped teams from coming in and inquiring, because let's face it, apparently Juventus hasn't actually made an offer. So why would you just listen to them say stuff? If they haven't actually made an offer, why would you back off? So apparently, like Citigroup has inquired about them, and a couple of German clubs have inquired about them. So the fact that Juventus is interested has basically, I think, if Juventus was trying to scare people away, it's basically just intrigued other teams to say, "Whoa, they're looking over there. Then what are we?" And let's face it, people act shocked like Reynolds came out of nowhere, but this kid's been scouted since he was in the academy, so they've been watching him for years. And what you're watching for progression, right? You're watching for, is he going to make the move to, how's he going to do once he gets on the senior team? Is he, and he's progressing very well. He's basically came in. We were all worried about whether he'd be able to step in for Cannon. And at first they didn't start him right away. They started, Brazan or Hollingshead, and that was kind of like a head scratcher for us. But once he actually got the start, he never let it go. So that's what these scouts they've been watching him for years, and they want to see that, and they're seeing natural progression. And so now that's where the interest comes, But the question is, he's still raw on defense, and he's still, he's physically, he's got gifts that you can't teach. And so that's where the intrigue comes. It's about potential, and they just got to decide how much they're willing to spend for him. That's a tricky question,
It is.
Some clubs maybe going to simply wait for him to have another season in Dallas before they actually make up.
Well, that's the thing that the Zanota's, when it's right for the club and player, they'll sell, which means that if it's some flyer of a deal, or if they're getting lowballed with the deal, it's going to be the FC Dallas is going to try to figure out what's going to work best, and we don't know, because of this COVID reality, what the finances look like for some of these teams and what they're willing to spend. But at the end of the day, Reynolds needs to go to a place where he's going to keep getting minutes, keep getting opportunities to develop at his level. But so it's not out of the cards. Maybe they can negotiate a loan back deal or something. But I think about his past 2 games in the playoffs. He's playing on artificial turf. It weren't his best games of the season, but he held his own. I think he improved just a little bit from the Portland game to the Seattle game. And the biggest thing, he didn't play his best. He didn't give a delicious assist or anything like he's been known to do. But he helped hold Jordan Morris and Lodero to 0 goals in the run of play. And that's more a 19-year-old in his first playoff matches. That's all you really want to ask for,
That's true. Um, Keep in mind the other thing that's I think making uh, Sonora and them basically not bite on the first juicy offer is the fact that Canon is balling over in Europe, and his stock is going up, and so you can say, hey, look at Canon, his value is going up. Good performance has a good performance. We think Reynolds is better, and he's younger, so he's going to be better than Cannon. And a lot of people will agree with that. They think, Cannon may be the better player
Yeah.
now, but say Reynolds has the bigger upside. You know, and that's I think where Dallas has some negotiation room is as long as Cannon keeps balling out in Europe, and already they're talking about him already possibly moving, in this transfer window. I don't think he will. I don't. I think Bovista values him too much. Um, but he's only going to move if somebody's willing to pay twice what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
But basically says, "Oh, you're offering us, 5 million when we want 10 million. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't come in at 10 million, we're not listening." So basically, they're that's good for Dallas. That's great for Reynolds to see Cannon's value going up, because if you believe that Reynolds is going to be better than Cannon, then you should be able to pay more,
Mm-hmm.
more than Cannon, was sold for it. And it's a great argument. It doesn't necessarily true, but that's what they're going to be pitching.
It's good stuff. We'll have to see, and we don't know if an offer will come in for Testament or for another player.
The other
There's.
guy that could be on the move is Thomas Roberts. I mean, so
Mm-hmm.
so Roberts is out, but right now he's on trial with Hibs in the Scottish Premiership, um, and he's played one game with the reserves, and he's played one exhibition match against Rangers with the senior team, and I guess he's going to take this offseason to basically shop himself around. Mind you, he's still under contract with FC Dallas, so I
Yeah.
don't know if they're looking to loan him to Europe or sell him. We don't know, but he's definitely a player that would probably be in the move more than likely by loan. But who knows? Maybe somebody loves him so much they make an offer too. You never know
Mm-hmm.
how these things.
That's right. So there's a lot of exciting developments to come this offseason. We hope you stick around and join us on After Dark Live, and also check out bigdsoccer.com as you enjoy this little break in soccer action and look ahead to all that is coming. And we're going to have a lot to talk about in the coming weeks, and we'll be updating everybody on the website kind of when we go live, because some weeks maybe slow news weeks, and so we'll just see. We'll see how things unfold.
Can I add one more thing?
Sure.
Honestly, I think as a fan, you gotta be cheering for Thomas Roberts to basically be asked to go on loan to Europe. Um, that's really what we like to see from you. You got kids like Justin Shea coming up, Dante Seeley. Wouldn't it be great if these guys they play for North Texas SC, they show they're above that level, and then instead of loaning them to, if they're not going to be getting first team minutes with FC
Right.
Dallas, it would be great if you could loan them out to Europe to a mid tier European league. That would be wonderful. I think
Great.
for FC Dallas.
It would be great. Well, good stuff. Good stuff, Jose. The team has, it's disappointing that the season is over, that we're not getting to see FC Dallas push on, but hey, 2020 has been wild and strange, and 2021 we'll begin to look forward to. Of course, stay tuned to the website at bigdsoccer.com. We'll be doing a lot of season post-mortems, looking back at the season, and thinking about what went wrong, what went well, and thinking about what the future holds for our beloved FC Dallas squad. All right, so we're going to leave it there. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for joining us. Have a good rest of your evening. Stay healthy and safe, all right? Good night.
Good night.